On this film, you're going to be adding, subtracting rational expressions, but unlike today, you're going to not have it's going to be without common denominators. There are 5 main steps that you can follow. You need to factor all denominators. Notice it says denominators. We don't care about the numerators. We're going to be working on finding the least common denominator because we need common denominators to add fractions. Then you're going to multiply each term by what's missing. Add and subtract all the numerators, and then at the very end you're going to check to see if you can simplify any further. Right now we're going to move on, so if you haven't written all that down yet, you're going to pause and copy that. Alright, here's our first problem that we're going to try and simplify. Notice that they do not have common denominators, so what I'm supposed to do is factor them. Nothing I can do with m plus n. On this I'm going to factor out a 2 and get 2 times m plus n. So it's no longer this. So now when I'm looking at common denominators, what they already have I don't need to worry about. So they both already have m plus n, but if you notice this one has a 2 and this one does not. So that's what we're going to multiply each term by is this 2. So I'm going to times the top and the bottom by 2. Okay. Now if I look, now I've got 2 times m plus n and 2 times m plus n, so I've got common denominators. Now I'm actually going to add everything on the top, so I'm going to distribute this 2. It's 2 times both pieces here. So that gives me 6m plus 4 plus another 4, all over my common denominator of 2 times m plus n. Up here I've got now 6m plus 8. On the bottom, I'm never going to distribute that back in. I'm always going to leave it factored. And now I'm back to what we looked at in day 1, and what we worked on today is checking to see if I can factor. On the top I can factor out a 2, which gives me 3m plus 4 over 2 times m plus n. And if I look, the factors of 2 can simplify, so my final answer is 3m plus 4 over m plus n. Alright, here's our next problem, number 2. X over x plus 3 minus 6x over x squared minus 9. Again, the first step says to factor all of the denominators. Nothing I can factor with x plus 3. This one factors into x minus 3, x plus 3, because it's a difference of squares. So it's no longer this. Now I look, the factors they have in common I don't need to deal with. It already has x plus 3 and x plus 3, but this one is missing the x minus 3, so that's what I have to times this one by. X minus 3 over x minus 3. If you look, now I've got a common denominator with these, and I can finish off my work on the top. I have to distribute, even though it's backwards, that x gets distributed to that binomial. So that one is x squared minus 3x, and then I've got minus 6x over x minus 3x plus 3. So now I'm going to combine terms. Here I've got x squared minus 9x over x minus 3x plus 3. Then I'm back to what we did on day 1, where I've just got one thing that I need to simplify. So I'm going to factor out a GCF of x over x minus 9, x minus 3, x plus 3. If you look, there's nothing more that I can simplify, but again, we had to factor to double check and make sure, so that was my final answer. Alright, here's our last example. It's a little more in-depth. So the first thing we got to do is factor our denominators. This one is x plus 4 times x minus 2, so it's no longer this. This one is a difference of squares, x minus 4, x plus 4. Not this anymore. So now we're going to go take a look at what we have in common already. If you look, we have an x plus 4 and x plus 4, so I don't have to do anything with those. This one has an x minus 2, but this one's missing it, so I know I've got to times this by x minus 2 over x minus 2. So that takes care of this one. Now, if you look, it's in the denominator and the denominator now. This one has got an x minus 4, but this one's missing an x minus 4, so I've got to times the numerator and the denominator by x minus 4. Now, if you look, I've got 3 terms that are the same as the 3 terms in this denominator. We're good to go. So what I've done next is I actually FOIL these. It's a binomial times a binomial, so you have to FOIL, and I get x squared minus 8x plus 16. On this one, I FOIL those, x plus 2x minus 2, that's a difference of squares, so it's x squared minus 4, and I've got the subtraction sign in it over my common denominator. Now I'm going to combine like terms, making sure that I distribute this negative sign. So I've got x squared minus x squared, cancels out and becomes 0. I still have a negative 8x, and then I have 16 minus negative 4, which is really adding 4, so that gives me plus 20 over the common denominator, x minus 4, x plus 4, x minus 2. So now we're back to where we were on the first day. We've got to factor out our greatest common factors. I know these are all positive x, so I want to factor out a negative. So I'm going to factor out a negative 4, which will give me positive 2x minus 5 over x minus 4, x plus 4, x minus 2. If I look, I don't have any like factors, so that is my final answer.